Hi, everybody. Good to have you with us. I'm Brooke Silva Braga. Thousands of migrants continued their dangerous journey Monday in hopes of reaching the U.S. border. President Trump has threatened to cut aid to the Central American nations they came from. Many are fleeing violence and crises in their home countries. Adriana Diaz is traveling with them and has the latest from Mexico.
This is a pit stop on a punishing journey to the U.S. border, and it's still just the beginning. Migrants from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador continue to make their way north, fleeing poverty, persecution, and gang violence. The caravan now includes an estimated 7,200 migrants, and more are expected to join tomorrow, potentially pushing the number past 10,000. They started their journey from San Pedro Sula in Honduras, continued through Guatemala and into southern Mexico. They're nearly 1,000 miles from the nearest U.S. border crossing. A similar exodus in April with 1,500 migrants reached the U.S. border. 250 applied for asylum. Only 3 so far have received it.
So you're only wearing sandals.
Battling 100-degree heat and exhaustion and thin soles, Jessica Flores brought her strongest child with her. She left her 4 others in Honduras.
¿Cómo sería para una mamá dejar sus hijos? What's it like for a mother to leave her children?
Se me hace más duro saber que mis hijos los dejo.
She says the farther she goes, the harder it is to know that her children are farther away from her.
The migrants continued toward the border in open defiance of the U.S. government. Today, the U.S. Embassy in Honduras released this video urging people to turn back or face detention. But the caravan is rumbling forward. We first saw Sergio Cáceres yesterday as the caravan reached its first major city in Mexico. We found him again today on the way out. He's paralyzed and looking for work and better doctors in the U.S.
How has this journey been in a wheelchair? ¿Cómo ha sido este camino en una silla de ruedas?
Complicado.
He says complicated.
And Adriana Diaz joins us now from the midst of the caravan. Adriana, as your stories, your reporting have made clear, it is a difficult journey for these thousands of folks. What are the main dangers they're facing on this trip?
Well, Brooke, it really has to be the conditions out here in terms of the weather. When they started walking today, it was just barely 12 o'clock, high noon. The forecast said it was about in the high 80s, but there's no way that that's what it felt like on the ground. It felt like it was 100 degrees. The humidity here is dense, and we have seen countless people earlier drenched in sweat, babies that looked like they had just been taken out of baths. And it's this heat that's creating worries about dehydration. This ambulance behind us pulled up a bit ago and said, agua, 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 handing out water to people because the dehydration is what is threatening every single person walking through here. We were told by organizers that children have been vomiting, that some children have fainted. So these are tough conditions. And me and our crew, we're not even walking. These people have been walking for hours. They have been walking for days on end. Some people walking as many as 11 days so far.
And in at least one case, the trip turned fatal, and we should warn viewers what we're about to show you is a bit graphic. But Adriana, what more do we know about this deadly incident you were able to report on today?
It was really heartbreaking and I'm sure traumatic for anyone who saw this man. He was on a truck like so many people have been. Trucks have been loaded up with countless people that you can hardly see the metal on the side of the truck. We're told he fell from a truck and he may have fallen under the truck and been run over by this truck. We got there shortly after. We saw, as you see in the video, we saw police covering the body and it's a stark, sobering reminder of how dangerous this journey is. People have energy, people have hope, but they're risking their lives by doing this. We spoke to migrants who had been standing around where the accident happened, and I said, does this change your mind? And a woman told me, we know the risks. We feel for this man because we feel we're a family and we feel that loss. But she said, but we all have dreams. We have our own dreams that we have to pursue, so we have to keep on going forward.
A lot of your reporting in the last couple days has focused on these families that in some cases are losing children and then reuniting with them. It's obviously a big challenge for anyone, let alone someone traveling with children. What do we know about, it's going to be another 6 weeks, they believe, before they make it to the border. What do we know about whether some folks will even be able to make it there, and then what becomes of them if they just stop in the middle of Mexico? What about those folks?
Well, the Mexican government has been cooperating somewhat with this migrant movement that's going through its country. At one point, the Mexican government said that they would try to provide jobs for migrants in Mexico. Of course, it wants everyone to apply properly for asylum, to go through official channels so they can be registered. Already, there are at least 1,000 people who have gone that way, who have applied for refugee status here in Mexico. But for those who aren't going to make it to the U.S., a lot of them will end up staying in Mexico, finding jobs in Mexico. The last major caravan was in April, and it was about the size of 1,500 people, so a fraction of the 7,000 that we see here today. Of those 1,500, 250 were able to get to the U.S. to apply for asylum. Those cases are still pending. Only 3 have successfully been granted asylum in the United States. So that just goes to show what these people are up against.
Well, President Trump has said he'll stop the caravan. What do folks in the caravan expect when they reach the border?
Honestly, Brooke, they expect divine intervention. We have talked to countless people and said the president does not want you to go in. The president is threatening to close down the border. And they said, when we get there, it's going to be open. We pray. We believe in God. We think he's going to. One woman said, we hope God softens the heart of the president of the United States so that he helps us somehow. So they don't know how they're going to do it, but they say by any means necessary, they're going to try to get to the U.S.
Okay. Adriana Diaz with the caravan. Thanks so much, Adriana.
Thanks, Brooke.